Welcome to Freedom After 40, the show for Gen Xers ready to create income online, escape the 9 to 5, travel the world, and live life on your terms. Here's your host, Orville J. Parker, aka Coach. Not a guru, just a fellow Gen Xer, a few steps ahead, who guides you through the mindset shifts, money moves, and digital strategies that helped him leave the grind behind and start living free. If you're tired of feeling stuck and know there's more life to live, this show is your roadmap to building the second half comeback you deserve. Let's create, escape, travel, and live.
Hey, what's up? What's up? This your man Orville J. Parker, aka Coach. Guys, welcome to this episode of the show. All right, so you guys can see, we have a official name for the show. The Freedom After 40 podcast was a podcast that I created about a year ago. I put it over on TikTok, went in, I think I recorded probably about 5 episodes of it. And it was my attempt at creating a focused piece of content where I can talk to fellow Gen Xers and share with them my journey to getting free, but then also have an opportunity to do some teaching on. You know, if you want to really learn something, very deep, a very powerful strategy is to teach what you learn. And you could do this on a day-by-day basis, man. It doesn't even have to be after you to learn in depth. I'm talking about if you sit down today and let's say you read and you're studying and you learn something, immediately go create you a piece of content and share that with the world. That right there is a strategy where the information goes from the top level of your consciousness down to your subconscious level. It's a very, very powerful technique and strategy. Man, I just remembered I was planning on charging my 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 Apple Watch. I'm trying to keep this thing charged up, guys, so I can get a little bit more intentional on doing the things I'm supposed to be doing. Okay, so on today's episode, man, we're going to be talking about the power of documentation and why documenting your process can be a very powerful strategy when it comes to leveling up in your life. And I'm going to show you how I'm using documentation to build businesses out. And I've been doing this almost now. It's been years, but in a focused way for the last 3 years. If you go out there and you look on YouTube, TikTok, and on Facebook, you're going to see a lot of documentation. You're going to see where I've went out, I've talked about things I built in public, and I shared things, pieces of my story. Now, this is the thing, though, and I'm not even going to lie. It's been all over the place. All right. I did it here, did it, stop, but it's out there. So now what I'm getting ready to do, I am getting ready to focus on being very intentional, organized, and consistent with my documentation. And I'm going to be doing it in several different ways. I'm going to kind of share with you guys what I'm looking to do. And then I'm going to talk to you guys about how to pull the framework out of what I'm saying. Okay. So when it comes to content creation, all right. Now, Gen Xers, you the guys that I want to talk to, that I want to focus on. Okay. You can do a lot of things in your life that you think you can't do if you embrace a couple things. Let's get this right off the bat. If you embrace content creation, all right, go out there and learn how to create content. Intention is the new currency. Content is the new wealth. All right, learn how to create content. All right, then you're going to want to learn how to create products or services, or even acquire products or services that bring value to the world. Okay. And that could be something as simple as a recipe. You learned how to do something that allowed you to be able to do this. All right. That's taking something that you know and you're going to package it, and then you're going to take that to the world. And then the other leg of the stool that I believe is marketing. All right, learning how to market. So you learn how to create content, which to me is nothing but communication, which is the highest form of value where you get paid. What's the next highest form of value where you get paid the money? But the second thing that we did was creating a product or a service is the highest form of value, which is imagination, right? But you're operating on the two highest forms of value, okay? But you're going to learn how to create content, which is communication. You're going to learn how to create and build things out of your mind, which is imagination, which is very, very powerful. And then you're going to learn how to market. You're going to learn how to position and put your message out there and put your product out there in a way to where it is seen by your target audience and they go through a process and they buy. And guys, if you can learn how to do that, then the potential in your life is crazy. All right. You can get out, you can build multiple streams of income. You have no ceiling on your income. You can scale. All right. So if you need to move up in tax brackets, you can do that. But you can become your own boss, get control of your time, be able to work from anywhere you want to work from, and be able to go out here and really express and maximize your creativity out there. I tell everybody, jobs, they lock your creativity down. Majority of jobs, they lock it down because they try to, because you can only do what your boss allows you to do. And you have to do it in the way that your boss tells you to do, unless you're in something creative like an advertisement or marketing or something like that. But at the same time, even in those roles, your job is on the line, right? So you're super stressed, right? But when you start moving over into entrepreneurship and you start moving over to content creation and you start looking at the world and you start seeing how much you can do out here, it starts blowing your mind. But you can get overwhelmed, but then you can also get very mad because you could be like, man, I wish I'd have done this years ago. Okay. So, what I'm doing here with Freedom After 40, I am trying to show fellow Gen Xers my process of a man who used to work a 9 to 5, that I hated the job. Even though I was a boss, I was a production supervisor, man. I had bosses above me, and people in that organization were good, but there were certain people in the organization, man, that made my life feel like hell, right? And I mean, I got to a point to where I said, okay, enough is enough, man. I done given this company some of my best years. I done helped them turn the corner at that particular location. And I told myself, I said, look, I'm going to escape from this place. And I started sitting down, figuring out how I was going to do it. And I put a plan together. It took me 2 years to do it. But this is the crazy thing. When I was there at that job for 11 years, I never stopped honing my skills. I never stopped keeping certain skills developed. Like I used to do web design and things like that. So while I was at the job, man, I would just work on projects. I would keep my kind of my graphic level, okay, and I would keep my web design. I started teaching myself marketing. I got more into personal development and the mindset of things. I started recording a ton of videos, man. If you go back for years, I've been recording videos, right? And all that was working in my favor. It was documentation of me thinking, doing, and learning. And when I came out the job, man, I came out the job and I started working on several directions that I wanted to go in. And I started documenting the process. And again, if you go out there to my Facebook profile, YouTube, TikTok, and you go down through my old videos, you can see a lot of this documentation about what I was saying I was going to do, what I was doing at the time, how I was thinking at the time. This is very, 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 very valuable, guys, because these are your snapshots in time that shows exactly what you were thinking, doing, hoping at that particular time. And I believe having that kind of content out there as you progress in your life, you're able to go back and look at where you were at that time. And that's the whole power of documentation. It allows for you to be able to capture that moment. We used to document a lot, when you taking pictures, family pictures of an event. You have a get together at the house. You got everybody there. Y'all eating, y'all dancing, y'all partying. And you want to capture that, right? You want to document it. So people used to do it, take pictures. All right. And then when video started getting big, what did people start doing? They started doing it with video. All right. We go out to the zoo. All right. We want to document this day. So we're going to take some pictures, shoot some videos. And guys, when it comes to your life in general, and when it comes to your business, you could do the same thing. And I say in business, it's even more important to document because what you're going to do is you're going to see your growth, but then you're going to also be able to capture your process, which is the thing that you need to capture if you're going to be successful. I'm going to tell you why. By documenting your process, you're able to go back and look at it and say, okay, how was I thinking? What was I doing? All right. And as you grow and learn more, you're able to identify the deficits, the things that you were doing wrong, and you can fix it, right? But when it comes to like the business I'm in, publishing, documentation can be worth millions of dollars to you because it's how you did something, why you did something. And as you work through the other end of it and you figure it out, now your documentation becomes part of your package, part of your process that you're able to show people. All right, this is what I did, that didn't work. This is what I did, this worked. This is what I was thinking at this time. And so you create almost a SOP out of your process. Okay, when you get done, here's the blueprint, right? But another reason I like frequent documentation is that you get to allow people to be able to look in on your process, to be able to follow along with your process. That does a lot when it comes to selling products and services down the road, because people have a tendency to follow you, buy into your journey. They buy into your credibility. They've watched you talk about do this, build this thing over time. And when it comes to marketing now, the process of getting somebody to buy your product or service, it's a lot easier when you can document it. Okay. And so, like in my case, with the Freedom After 40 movement podcast, okay, this is my attempt to organize the documentation of my process of going to the next level of my life. Over 3.5 years, I can't even remember now. I have to go back and look. I escaped the 9 to 5. All right. But as we sit here, I haven't 100% figured out my new reality, right? I'm still working on things and figuring out things. I made a lot of mistakes and went through a lot of money trying to figure it out. But at this point, guys, I can confidently say I figured it out. So now I have to put my head down, get to work. All right. I have to go in and I have to get to work and stay focused, right? Stay focused on what I'm doing. But I believe that the documentation is going to be very valuable for myself and for others because I have been able to be exposed to a lot, learn a lot. And there's going to be a lot of things I'm going to be doing that's going to be unorthodox. Like right now, the Freedom After 40 movement is all about a one person business model. That's what I'm building. All of my businesses are built around myself, and instead of having human beings, having AI. So as we jump down in this podcast, I'm going to be documenting my personal and my business. So we're going to be talking about my personal growth and development, and also my business growth and development. And I'm going to show you guys how anybody can choose an option B. And I'm going to show you what that option B could look like. A lot of times when we're stuck in our lives, we're stuck in our jobs, man, we're so focused in and we're so scared to look to the left and the right that we never think about or ask the question, what if? What if I was, first of all, do I like what I'm doing? Do I like who I am? Do I like what I'm doing? All right. If I don't, then why am I doing what I'm doing? And why am I who I am? All right. And then you got to start asking yourself questions like, what would my life look like if I changed? What would my life look like if I lost weight? What would my life look like if I got in shape? What would my life look like if I got more organized, productive? What would my life look like if I started generating more income? What if I got freedom of my time? What if I got freedom of where I could live at? What if I acquired skill sets that allowed me to be able to go out here and to be able to support myself to live whatever life I want to live? What would my life look like? All right. And these are the questions that I've asked. These are the questions that I know a lot of people ask as they go through that process in life. And one of the things I started focusing on, man, as I started getting older was asking that question, what do I want to do with the rest of my life and what do I want it to look like? Okay. And that's a question that I know a lot of you guys um, ask out there. Some of you take it and push it back down, say, shut up, don't ask that question. But some of you out there, you're sitting around, you're getting older. You're not too old yet. You're getting older. Mostly Gen Xers out there, and you're thinking, and you're saying, okay, it's got to be more to life than what I'm living, man. There has to be more to this puzzle than what I'm seeing. And you start looking around. This is one of the things that I tell people that is very, very powerful. Documentation again. I have a journaling process I've done off and on, and I'm getting ready to get back into it every day. And I'm physically getting into it hard because it helped me so much in my life. And I believe that it is one of those force multipliers when it comes to leveling up in your life. Okay. Is a daily journal. But follow what I'm saying. So, in the spirit of documentation, the journaling process and strategy allows for you to be able to have a meeting with yourself every day to discuss yourself, to manage your growth in your personal life, your relationships, your health, and your business, right? And if you are having that meeting on a day by day basis, you have to look at yourself every day. You get to hold yourself accountable every day, but you get to take a daily snapshot. You get to document. That journal is your documentation, all right, of where you're at, what you've done, how you're doing, right? And then you're able to manage that growth through that journaling process. But now, on some of the things I'm going to be sharing with you guys on here, it even gets deeper because you're going to be putting content out to the world, sharing your process, your journey. All right. So it's not just going to be hidden anymore. Okay. It's not going to be hidden anymore. But guys, when I tell you that if you follow along with this podcast and you do some of the things I'm going to be showing you guys on this podcast, you will improve your life. Like in my case, I got to get this weight off, so I'm going to tell you guys some of the things I'm trying to do that we're going to be documenting. Okay. So in the health wise, I got to get healthier. Okay. I'm probably about 40 pounds more than what I want to be. I want to get down. Right now I'm at 235 and I want to get down to 195. But as I go down to 195, I want to be in shape. So I want to do calisthenics, lift some weights, do a lot of walking, that type of stuff. Want to be in shape. I'm doing that to look better, feel better, but to stay healthy as I get older. All right, I want to do that. But then I want to start working on the inside of me also. So I want to start getting more nutritionally balanced. So getting with my doctor, researching and trying to find out things that I can take and add to my diet that's going to help me be optimal. While at the same time, I'm working on eating the best that I can eat. So I want to do that. All right. Now, mentally, I want to up my game again. I used to read an average of one book a week. All right. In the yesteryears. I want to get back to doing that. I want to become a avid learner. All right. And I want to take some of the frameworks that I figured out and discovered over the years that has allowed for me to be able to get out here and to be able to consume information and be able to take that information and use it. I want to start reading again. But this is the level. I want to read and I want to teach. I want to read and I want to teach. Okay. And so, excuse me, I'm going to be working on curriculum. One of the things I did, let me share this with you guys. I used to have a library. If you guys been following, I had a library downstairs that had almost 3,000 books when you count what was in the library and then what was still in boxes down in the basement. But I had about 2,000 of them on display in the library down there. Never was planning on reading those books. I built that library because I wanted myself and my sons to always have access to the information. We can go there. I had books on health and nutrition, books on business, books on spirituality, just all kind of books, right, for improvement. You go right to the shelf, pull it off. Okay, but over the years of building that library, I started seeing that a more efficient way of running that library wasn't the way that I did it. Because when I first started building that library, I was just grabbing books. And every last one of those books was handpicked. All right. I was just grabbing books. And I started noticing the Pareto principle operating in my library. Um, 80% of my time was spent reading 20% of my books. And so I had always told myself that when I got myself to get to the point, I was going to streamline my library, lean it out. All right. And then at that time, I had started focusing on digital. I had started getting a lot of books on digital. I started liking the idea of being able to read on my iPad, on my Mac Mini, on my iPhone. Then I also started getting into audiobooks. And I've built a library of probably about 60, 70 audiobooks. I have hundreds of digital books, courses, things like that. And then what I did was I did keep about, let me see, I would say I kept about 300 of my physical books that I have inside the office or on bookshelves. And these were the best of the best of the books that I. And so my ideal of a library changed, but it changed with who I was. All right. And so as I look at it now, I'm kind of excited about jumping back in and learning with the setup that I have right now. And so I'm going to be sharing that journey with you guys. Okay. And this is one thing that I understand, guys. Your body can't go where your mind haven't went. All right. If you want to level up out here, if you want this out here to look different, you got to change what's on the inside. You have to change who you are. You have to become more to get more. All right. And so I want to share that journey with you guys. So I'm going to be sharing with you guys the books, the things that I'm learning. Okay. All right. And I want to do the same thing in business, man. I'm challenging myself in business. I'm trying to, this is the thing as an entrepreneur, guys, especially as a creative. And then when you get out here and you start seeing that the world's your oyster, all right, you know that you have to make money. All right. You have to provide for your family. But it's something about getting out here in the world, man, and having the restraints taken off. You like, whoa, what is this? What in the world is this? You mean that I can choose anything that I want to do? You mean that I could work on anything? And guys, follow me when I say anything. There's a quote out there: whatever the mind of a man can conceive and believe, he can achieve. If you can think it, you can do it, right? Money's never an issue. Education's never an issue. Experience never an issue. You can always put something together through collaboration. You don't got the money, you find an investor. You don't have the experience, you bring on an experienced partner. You don't know how to do the work, you bring on and attract people who know how to do it. All right, it's never an excuse. But when you start looking at the world in a lens or from a lens of unlimited potential, you start seeing a couple things. How much you haven't done in your life, um, how much you've been narrow focused and not been open, and you start seeing that your capacity to see and hold something in your mind was like this, right? And that you need to get to work on expanding it. All right. And I've been good in this area most of my life because I've always exposed myself to a whole lot of different ideals and listened to what people were doing out there. So I always knew it was a big world out there. All right. But I just didn't know how to walk into that big world, if that makes sense. And when I tell you guys, I figured out a lot of things, a lot of things. And this is the key, guys. So when I was sitting down after I left the job, I'm looking at things, I'm working on things, and I come to the conclusion that, hey, Orville, whoa, you can do anything that you want to do out here. You can work on, build on anything you want to build out here. So now that we know that's the case, how do you approach that in a way to where you're able to maximize your life and your potential out here? My personal mission statement is all about me becoming the best version of myself and then helping others become the best version of themselves. All right, that's my personal mission statement. And so I got an aha moment and I got really excited when I finally realized that I could live that mission statement as much as I wanted, and could nobody stop me from living it, you know. And so that's what this whole movement of freedom and just getting out here and taking the rest of your life and creating a version of it that you want to create, and not allowing anybody, anything to hold you back. Just redefining the definition of who you are and what you do. And I call this rewiring, right? A lot of people talk about retiring. When you think about it, people don't want to retire. They don't want to go nowhere and just sit down and die, all right, and not do anything, not contribute. What they really want to do is rewire. They want to just do something different, and sometimes so radically different, all right? And so, yeah, so that's what I'm doing here, man. So I'm gonna be sharing with you guys just my process of being able to go out here and let's do that word rewire. Just change things in my life and put things in place in my life in a way that allows for me to live the best version of my life at this point, right? To get free, all right, to be prepared for anything, all right. So we talk about preparation, for unexpected things and stuff like that. And I'm gonna get into depth with that with you guys and show you how you can be prepared, so that way you're not walking around here being anxious. If this happens, you got this in place. If that happens, you got that in place. This happened, you got that in place. You take care of that, right? You get that out, get that, deal with that, so you're not walking around in fear and anxiety, right? But then show you how to go out here and be self-reliant, how to unplug, untether from the systems out here. You can use the systems, but not be dependent on them. So, how to get out here and how to think for yourself when it comes to what your life looks like. All right. Do you? How to read more so you can become more, so you can be bold enough to go do you. All right. How to get out here and untethered from the financial system. How do we get out here and make our own money? How do we create a factory to make our own money? We don't just want to do it one time, but how do we continuously learn and put skills in place to keep us making our own money? So that way we're not dependent on this size of a paycheck. It's unlimited. We're not dependent on a boss. We lean into our gifts, our skills. We create businesses. We create income potential out of thin air. We want to learn it. All right. What about lifestyle design? What about the way your life look like? Where do you live? What do your home look like? What does your office look like? How do you spend time with your family? What does that look like with your relationship? These are things that you need to sit down and think about, but things that you have unlimited free reign to change. And I'm gonna be exposing you guys to so many people through this show that have chosen to go out here and to rewire their lives, okay, and do something different. So I'm excited, man. And all this is going to be documented. It's also going to be documented. So you guys going to see in my content, I'm going to be documenting all this. So make sure you stay plugged in. But then also, guys, in my business, it's all about documentation. I have a publishing company, and I wanted to be able to run a publishing company when I got older because I wanted to be able to go out, and I love doing research. I love learning. All right. And then I want to be able to take what I'm researching and what I'm learning, bring it back to you guys, organize it, and present it to you in a way to where you can consume it, you can leverage it. And I make money, you get value. Yeah, I'm a capitalist. I'm not going to give it away to you free. Nope, nope, nope. You want my free stuff? Check out my content. Okay. But it's going to be this big game of documentation. Now, how does this going to look right now? All right. So every day I'm going to make at least one of these videos, and I'm going to stay with it. That's going to be part of my challenge. Some days you might get 2 episodes out of me. All right. But then over on TikTok, I'm going to be going live every day with the live version of Freedom After 40, where I'm going to be just talking about things and teaching on certain things over there live. And I'm doing that over there because right now, TikTok has a lot of reach when it comes to exposure and audience, man. They allow me to get a lot of audience over there. All right, but eventually, man, just like I'm live right now, I'm gonna go live at certain times of the day on YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitch, and Instagram. All right. And I'm gonna be doing this live show. All right. We're gonna have the live show, we're gonna have the pre-recorded show, and then I'm going to strip the audio from the video, run it through my AI, and get it cleaned up, and then I'm gonna put out an audio version also too. Okay, and put out an audio version too. And so it's gonna be really, really cool because this is what my process is gonna look like. So on one end, I'm fixed to get back in the trenches, studying and starting to improve and fix things. My business, my personal life, my relationship, my lifestyle. Okay. I'm gonna be sharing it with you guys. On the other end, I'm working on building out my business. All right, my publishing company. So I have a lot of courses, a lot of trainings that we created this year. We need to get converted over to the formats that I'm working on right now. At first, we was originally taking all this printed information, putting it in membership sites. Now we're taking the printed information and putting it inside of ebooks. Okay, and we're going to get everything converted over to ebooks. Then we're going to add media to that by adding links to videos inside the ebooks. We do this for a reason because I want people to be able to read. Okay, I'm a reader. I want people to be able to read. And so they can read on a computer, they can read on their iPhones, on their tablets, because we give you two versions of whatever product you buy from us. You get it in a PDF and an EPUB. PDF allows you to read it on your computer, but then when you want to print it out, it's structured for printing. So you can print it out just like a regular book. You can print it out by the pages, by the chapters, or by the whole book. Then you can sit down at your desk, read, mark up, highlight, make notes. All right. But then the EPUB version allows for you to be able to read it on any device. And that publication is responsive. So depending on what device you got, it expands or contracts, right? But check this out. You don't have to worry about zooming in, scrolling, all that stuff because the words fit on there good on the size of the device. All right. So we got that there. So I got to get all that converted over. Okay. Get all that converted over. But then at the same time, I'm going to be working on, I have a newsletter that I'm getting ready to do. All right. And it's going to be brought to you by Modern Frontier, which is my publishing company, and Freedom After 40. And I don't know which brand it's going to be on the front, but like this show is Freedom After 40, but it's brought to you by Modern Frontier Publishing. Okay. So my publishing company owns this. Okay. So we're going to be working on the newsletter. Okay. So for now to next year, my whole framework is getting all the courses and the trainings that I think we need to convert over, get it converted over to ebooks. Then I'm gonna go back in all the courses and training that we've done, and I'm gonna start shooting video add-ons and supplements to go with it. So in those PDFs, I can drop a link. So when a person's reading the book online, they can click on that link and it'll open up to a video, and I can put video training. So we're gonna do that. All right. And then we're going to be creating new trainings and courses. And I'm going to work hard on learning how to effectively sell my courses this year. All right. So that's all the front end of what you're going to look like. Look at. Now, on the back end, what I'm going to be working on is building out my AI infrastructure. And when I tell you guys, even though I haven't focused in on this like I should have, I've learned a lot when it comes to what can be done with AI, and I've done a lot with it. And there's so much more that I can do, that I need to do, that I hadn't had the focus to sit down and do, and now I do. So part of what I'm gonna be sharing with you guys is documenting what I'm building on the back end. And I've shown you guys this several times, but the process of me doing what I do, guys, I'm gonna open that up so you guys can see it, and you're gonna see me build out the back end of my company and my life. And now this is what I do with AI. Now I don't know how you feel about AI, but I'm gonna tell you how I approach AI. I use AI in everything in my life, from my personal to my business. And when I tell you that I have systems and frameworks that I use for personal development, personal life with my AI, down to anything and everything. Like if I'm working on something out in the yard and I don't understand it, I jump on and I pull up my assistant Vic and ask him about it. I take a picture. He'll tell me what it is, explain it to me. We interact like that all the way to my business. So what I'm going to show you guys is the infrastructure and everything that I'm building out personally behind the scenes, and also business behind the scenes. So you guys are going to get to see this whole world that you wouldn't normally see. And the whole gist of things, guys, I want to show you how with today's technology, with information, with you having work ethic and focus, you can literally go out here and do so much that you never thought you can do, and you could do it by yourself. Now, you can have people that work with you. You can collaborate. You can have assistants. You can do all. I'm not saying that. But what I'm doing is showing you guys there is no excuse for you not to get your personal life and your business life and your money right. Because all the knowledge, all the tools, and even the intelligence through AI is out here for you to level up. All right. And check this out, guys. And if you are Generation X and you're over 40, or even if you're young and you're thinking about life after 40, what I want to show you guys is that you don't have to retire, and you don't have to choose to stay stuck in the life that you're currently stuck in. You can rewire. But in order to rewire, guess what? You got to get a different set of information, put it here, start thinking different. Then you got to take what used to go from here to here, and you got to say, okay, well, that's not going to go there. I'm going to move it over here and go here to here. That's rewiring. So now you have a different syntax, you have a different framework, you have a different systematic way that you're doing something. So that way you're going to get a different result, a different reality and stuff. It's going to be good, guys. Mindset, skill set, business. We're going to be banging it out. And let me show you guys something. Even like right now, what you're looking at, this is the life, this is a life version of, or a live version of me showing you guys what you can do. All right, I took a video that I shoot all the time. And I kept telling you guys, okay, we're going to put a name with it. I've done the Daily Coach Show. I've done different ones, right? But with this whole movement, I said, okay, guys, we're going to package this in a way where it's going to be organized. It's going to make sense. And I had already worked on this. And so I come up and I say, okay, well, we're going to roll with that Freedom After 40. Okay, this is the logo that we created, guys. My AI created this. All right. I'm going to teach you guys all this. The intro, the outro, all that you hear was all done by AI. My AI wrote the script for the voice, for the intro and the outros. AI voice did it. AI mixed it. AI made the music. All right. Everything that you hear with that podcast intro, outro is all done by AI. All right. But guess what? So now I'm able to take and brand and package this content. All right. So you're seeing it in real time. But what I want you guys to peep also is to learn from observing. Hey, this guy's doing his own podcast. All right. So how do I do that? That's the kind of stuff I want you to start asking yourself as we go. And we're going to be documenting everything, guys. All right. I'm going to go ahead and get out of here because I'm trying to keep these daily shows at a certain timeline. And so we're going to get on out of here. And let's pull that outro up, man. Let's pull that outro up. And we're going to listen to that. And then I'm going to catch you guys on the next one, okay? All right, so here's the outro.
Thanks for tuning in to Freedom After 40, where it's never too late to build something new. If today's episode hit home, do me a favor and share it with a fellow Gen Xer who's ready to make their move. And don't forget to grab your free Freedom Blueprint at learndigitaltoday.com. It's the first step to designing your new life. Until next time, keep building, keep dreaming, and remember, freedom isn't a fantasy, it's a plan.
All right, there you go, guys. Done. Out of here. Ready to get to work. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Orville J. Parker, a.k.a. Coach. I'm out.